Hey everyone, welcome to another rapid fire review, this time for Capcom's Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, I personally got started with the Monster Hunter franchise pretty late. I hadn't played the games until a few years back after I got more or less dragged into the Monster Hunter Cafe in Tokyo a few years back for the absolute worst dining experience one can have in all of Japan. While the food was horrid cafeteria nonsense barely fit for human consumption, with service to match, there was a bright side of the experience. It was seeing the absolutely incredible recreations of the weapons and palicos all over the cafe. The reason we went there is my buddies are massive fans of the franchise, so when I got back, I gave Worlds a shot. And with a bit of hand-holding through the roughness of the new player experience, I ended up really liking the core gameplay loop. My enjoyment of Monster Hunter comes from the preparation of the hunts, with the food and the buffs, acquiring and building gear sets to cover a variety of monster strengths and weaknesses, and of course kiddie culinary shows that are second to none in video game. I now say I'm a fan of Monster Hunter, and was really looking forward to the next chapter with Monster Hunter Wilds. And it's finally here! So how did it turn out?
Fucking Monster Hunter pissed me the fuck off. I'm gonna fucking try this and that. I didn't even have fucking fun. Couldn't have a little bit of goddamn fun. God damn it!
Yeah, it's a little rough, especially for new people. The good news is, if you can get the game to run smoothly, I believe that what makes Monster Hunter is still here. The core gameplay loop of the prep and the hunt still feels great. Experienced players looking for more of the same Monster Hunter are going to get it here in Wilds. We still have the incredible customization that people like me are after. You can spend a considerable amount of time editing your character and Palico's appearance.
Impressive. That's alright. Can you reach it? I have to try.
There's also 14 weapon types, with a large upgrade tree with a wide selection of damage types and status effects, upgradable armor sets with their specific strengths and weaknesses, and of course passive buffs to mix and match. There's custom-made weapons, endgame systems, and even larger hunts, so the future of Monster Hunter Wilds is looking incredibly bright. But unfortunately for us, the future's not now. I really do believe that Monster Hunter Wilds delivered a satisfying gameplay loop, and that people looking for that loop are going to have a great time, but there are more components to an overall experience than just the gameplay loop. To start, the game's PC performance, which is how I played, is pretty poor. With 8 million copies sold in just a few days, a mixed overall score on Steam is pretty damning. There are hundreds of reports of repeated crashes, low frames, stuttering, poor textures, graphical tearing, and all sorts of nonsense. Either Capcom's graphical engine has been stretched beyond its capability, or like most major devs, they just aren't optimizing their product like they should be. Or actually, it's both. I was one of the fortunate few that had no crashes, but friends I was trying to play with sure did. I did have more than my fair share of stuttering, low frames, and really fun graphical tearing that made dodging instant monster kills really difficult. Alright, so once we get the game to run more or less smoothly, we can get to the real challenge of Monster Hunter Wilds, which is fighting the menus and UI. If ever there was an example of the dangers of just adding to systems with each sequel and iteration without refinement, here it is, folks.
Man, this game feels like it's built for people who have only played the Monster Hunter series for a while.
Now, in Capcom's defense, all the info you need is there. It's somewhere, and you will eventually find it. Probably. Maybe.
Yo, Hunter, invite to link party. You're in my lobby, but you're not in my link party.
Okay.
So now you're in my lobby and my link party and my private server. You first just join my server, private server, and then join my lobby, and then join my link member lobby, and then join my quest. No, not quest squad. Join my squad after you join my private server lobby link member. Got it? Got it?
Outside of these menus, once we grasp the basics of the game, you are presented with the open regions and their massive amount of local flora and fauna. And don't worry, the game will be telling you all about them. You'll be non-stop inundated with information you don't give two shits about. Hunter, there's an increase in firefly activity in your area. Hunter, there have been sightings of a rock near you. Hey, Hunter, there's a monster in your area. A monster will soon be leaving your area. A monster has left your area. Oh wait, never mind, the monster's back in your area. Oh, never mind, it's gone again. It's like browsing the internet during the pop-up ad heyday, and for some reason these stupid-ass notifications lock you out of doing other things until you close them. Oh, and if you do see one that you actually want, like a party invite, Capcom's infinite genius has decided that it should be the same button to accept and dismiss the notification. Genius. Speaking of party invites...
Alright, I guess it's time to meet up with Joe and Alex. Let me know when y'all are ready to meet up.
Okay.
Invite to watch? You're literally playing the game. Why can't I just click your fucking name? Well, you're in lobby member, but you're not a link member. What the fuck? What is stupid? Joe, are you here yet?
No, can you send me a...
What?
Can you send me another one?
Try for another invite! I invited you 17 times!
It's not
You're in
here.
this party! You're in the squad! You're in the private lobby! You're in the link member ID!
As Joe was able to see pretty quickly, this really isn't a co-op game. Not the way that you would expect a modern AAA $70 game to be. During the campaigns, it's absolutely miserable getting invites out, then having people join, and remain connected. It does become easier and it clears up after the campaigns are done, or when you're doing standalone missions. But during the campaign, it's a nightmare, and you probably should just skip it. Even in the endgame, joining SOS hunts of people not in your party is awful. The really good hunts, the multi-monster hunts with 15 to 20 of the chase loot drops, are fairly rare. So your best bet is to use the search function and join others who have them. But it's a non-stop sea of error messages, unable to connect errors, full lobbies, 30 to 40 minute old hunts, or when I do finally get to join a hunt and connect, all of the other hunters get kicked from the hunt and I'm forced to do it solo. The defenders tell me, look, it's going to get better, it always does, in the future, but it's just another thing that wasn't finished or at least polished before launch. And while we're on the topic of unfinished and unpolished stuff here, there's the campaign. The campaign itself is split into low rank and high rank halves. The low rank half has a semblance of a story and characters. The story isn't great or compelling and the dialogue is better skipped, I'd say.
So, what else have you heard about me? I'm almost afraid to ask.
People say you're a solitary bird, that you prefer to work alone. So, why'd you agree to a cooperative undertaking like this? Change of heart?
Chance of something.
Well, you're here now, and that's all that matters. I won't pry.
Except some of the exposition dumps aren't technically cutscenes. You just sit on your chocobo and you follow an NPC that just goes on and on and on. And these scenes can't be skipped. And then there's an annoying child that for some reason just refuses to get eaten by a monster. It's not great.
Yes.
Argument of some is nobody plays Monster Hunter for the story. Yeah, but that doesn't mean they can't fix the multiple people in the story cutscenes.
I mean, for $70, I'd like a story.
I would also like a story for $70. That's like when people used to say, nobody plays Call of Duty for the story, or nobody plays Battlefield for the story, nobody plays Black Ops for the story. You remember that one time they sold us Black Ops without a story? It's like,
Don't wander too far
it's just
off.
brain rot. It's just gamers demanding less and getting less for the same amount.
I too would never say that storytelling is the focus of the Monster Hunter franchise. So for scoring, I won't be at all harsh about this game not having a good one. It's just not what people expect from the franchise, and traditionally the game is made up for the deficiency in other ways. But I still think, as a $70 paying customer, maybe we deserve a bit more than what we got. And it feels like a really big wasted opportunity for Capcom. The second half, the high-rank chapters of the campaign, are actually kind of hilarious. After Chapter 3, the game just ends. The credits roll, and then it starts back up. And then rather than the campaign kind of limping along like the first half did, you're just simply told that you need to explore the world and do quests because you're not high enough level. And these quests aren't exactly bangers. They're mainly just chores, and they need to be done. Find a bug. Alright, you found a bug. Okay, cool. Go catch a lizard. No, not that one. Go catch the rare lizard, and it only spawns on Tuesdays. And then you complete these ridiculous quests, and they give you an absurd amount of experience, with the goal of just speedrunning you right to the threshold they're looking for. Of course, you could do monster hunts, but when catching a lizard gives you 3 times the experience, I don't know why you would. It's the same monsters you've already fought. Once you do, the main story resumes with a monster fight, but then you go right back to the chores. Now you gotta do someone's laundry, or pick the weeds, or fight a monster you fought 12 times. Once you do these really cool chores 3 separate times, you can get to the final boss, which is actually really cool. It's a non-repeatable fight, and it has no unique loot, or armor, or weapons for some reason. Again, future stuff, I guess. You move on to the endgame. Or what exists of the endgame now. As of now, the endgame is really just doing tempered versions of Arkveld, which was the beta boss, and then you fought twice in the story already. And seriously, that's it. You do the same story boss over and over and over. You can throw in a few gore fights if you want to finish the armor set, and you'll finish it easily, and then you're just done with armor farming. You know, seriously, you'll be done. They're really generous with the armor components. And it's not just the armor components. They're also incredibly generous with the decoration materials and crafting materials, which I'm sure some people are going to like. But for me, the speed at which I acquired all of the best armor sets, decorations, best weapons, and crafting materials was too fast. I ran out of things to do very, very quickly. I even changed weapon types several times, and I had plenty of stuff to make all of the best longswords and charge swords and sword and shield, which is actually really amazing. You guys should check out the sword and shield. These problems are further compounded with another big problem I had, which is there really isn't much challenge to Monster Hunter Wilds. I mean, sure, from time to time, a big nasty attack will one-shot you if you're not paying attention. But throughout the campaign, there wasn't a time where I needed to specialize my armor. I didn't need to put on fire resist gear for the fire-breathing dragons, or lightning resist for the big electric bird. And elemental damage on your weapons, while nice in theory, don't have anywhere near the level of impact that status effects or just raw damage or affinity stacking does. Whatever weapon I had did just fine, so there just wasn't much of a need to go farm hunts. There wasn't long-term goals to strive to, no chase stuff to earn. The drop rates are so high you organically get pretty much everything you need in a non-stop loot pinata extravaganza of instant gratification. The only time I got stuck farming something for any length of time was user error. I was just selecting the wrong quest. If I had selected it from the map, I guarantee get the gem drop I wanted. Look, there's a little bit of farming that can be done for Ardian weapons, though unless you need several of them, you'll have almost all you need after the first few tempered Arkveld fights. But you probably won't need to, though. Again, with elemental damage types either not working as intended, or actually kind of sucking if it's working like they want it to. And according to the Monster Hunter math gurus, you probably won't need to craft several Ardian weapons for each elemental damage type. Just whatever raw damage and status are best in slot. With the Artian weapons, you can customize them and then upgrade them hoping for the perfect rolls. But the system as implemented is pretty easy to figure out, and perfect or near perfect rolls will come easily. It is not at all pure RNG, so with a little googling you can find what you want pretty reliably. I feel I've got to say after complaining for a while now, that I do ultimately like Monster Hunter Wilds. The monster hunts in the monster hunting game are for the most part great. I do like rolling all over the place using my bow or getting in their face and slashing indiscriminately with my sword and shield. Fighting alongside my trusty cat butler in big cinematic battles with interactive terrain, impromptu alpha fights when other monsters step in, and learning the best combos and movesets for each boss. The core is a product that I liked, a lot in fact, but there are other aspects to games outside of that core experience, and while they may not be as important, they still have significant weight to the score of a game. There are barriers to entry here, whether it be performance or the new player experience. There are systems that don't seem to be working, or at least need some serious polishing. There's a lack of difficulty, which impairs the need for customization, and materials in such abundance that even if you do want to customize, you probably are already most of the way there. And outside of one fight you'll do over and over, and a lack of variety in endgame loot to strive for, there's really not much of an endgame to speak of right now. And there are no cat chefs, and who the hell thought that was a good idea? I just can't help but feel that what I and 8 million other people paid for was simply the foundation for a great game to be delivered and sold to us later. And I know I'm getting updates and bug fixes, more monsters, armor, and weapon sets, and paid DLC all coming in the future. But for now, what I've got to review was a very fun foundation of a game. So that's what I have to score it as. I'm going to give Monster Hunter Wilds PC release a 6 out of 10, which for us is a slightly above average score compared to other games. Console players or fans that are willing to hand-wave away some of the problems and deficiencies that exist now, because of the promise it'll get better in the future, I'm sure we'll have a higher score.
It's just gamers demanding less and getting less for the same amount.
But here we at least try to review games as they're released. Thanks so much for watching this rapid fire review. We have a ton coming up this month with an Assassin's Creed Angry review and all sorts of other games we're going to go back to. So I'll see you then on the next Angry Joe Show.